Last week, I had this creative burst of energy and wanted to tackle the painting head on, and rather than doing all the elaborate steps that I had talked about before. And so that is the work above me. As you can see, not happy with it, especially the apartment building here turned into a gray mess. That's partly my learning curve on getting used to oils, and I like things go on kind of thinly and build it up, and so I used a lot of linseed oil, and that posed two problems. The colors mixed very easily, much more so than I'm used to with acrylics. I knew this ahead of time, but still was a little bit difficult to control. And the drying time, of course. Even after a day, it's still almost like it was the day before. So, almost no change. So those are two factors I'm trying to grapple with, the working with the paint, oil paints, and how they are different from acrylic paints. Again, also trying to remember and pick up where I left off over 10 years ago. So I kind of took a step back this week and returned to my original game plan, which was to do small individual studies of the buildings, each of the buildings, as one step, and two, to separate the black and white shadows and tones from the color. So I do, as you can see with the smaller painting behind me, I'm building up. I build up a sketch, a very detailed sketch, which again I kind of shortchanged on the large one because I have not fully developed all the buildings yet, and so I thought I would do that in the painting process rather than the sketching process, and that was a bad move on my part. So I worked up the painting in a very fairly detailed drawing, and now I am beginning to put the grays down, so from white to black, and work out all the gray tones of the painting. And then once that's complete, then I'll introduce the colors that I want to do. That's break that out into individual sections. It becomes a little bit laborious. I'm worried about it'll become a little too photographic, which is always a danger for me, that I try to reproduce the photograph, and I struggle against that, particularly when you have photographic images as your reference sources. And so I'm taking a step back, and this also gives me a chance to play around with the oils and get used to them and feel how they work compared to acrylics before I return to the larger work. So at this point, what I plan to do again is to do each individual building as a separate painting. I'm working it up on a gallery style frame, and so that at the end of this, not only will I have the larger work, but I'll have a collection of individual building studies that can hopefully stand on their own. So that's where I've been this week. Again, just as I mentioned on my Monday odds and end update, I went to Christine Seeley's opening at the Carnegie Gallery in Dundas. It was a great show. I really encourage everyone to go out and see her new nighttime series. She's got some really interesting things going on, both in painting on paper, ink and pencil sketches, and her large-scale paintings. Very impressive stuff. Interesting, a little bit of abstraction being introduced into some of her work, especially stuff on paper, and very extreme dark and light opposites within her paintings. So very interesting to see. Again, the two other artists there are Christopher Reed, fantastic potter. He makes clay look like fabric. It's an unbelievable feat he has achieved. I really love his colors, really brilliant colors. And Irene McDermott, in the lower part, she fantastic sense of color, use of colors, very bold stroke works and acrylic paintings, floral still life compositions, and a little on the abstract side, but very impressive work. I very much admire her brushstroke and use of color. So anyhow, that's what I've been up to for this week, and hopefully things continue to progress with the smaller work, and then at some point in the hopefully not too distant future, I'll be able to return to the larger composition. Okay, take care. Bye.